Just to give you guys a little bit of background, what we're going to do is we're actually playing a Pathfinder campaign in the world of Vera. This is set before the apocalypse. So for those of you who are unaware of the lore of how you get into the world of Ashes of Creation, essentially Vera was your ancestral home. And when you play the MMORPG, you're going to be stepping through what are called these divine gateways from a planet called Sanctus. Sanctus was really a safe haven that was forethought by the goddess of fate and creation as a sanctuary to provide the people of Vera who could survive the fall, the apocalypse, the Exodus, essentially. You know, if you haven't had an opportunity, the Ashes Wiki and the Ashen Post, I believe, they have great transcripts of the previous Pathfinder campaigns that we've done during these Extra Life events for you guys to get a little bit of information about kind of the lore and the history. I believe that there are some lore milestones in our donations and whatnot, so we might hit some additional lore here, but the campaign itself is lore. So historically, just so you're aware, Ashes of Creation comes from a custom homebrewed campaign that I made, you know, over 10 years ago, that's really where the story comes from. And essentially there were, you know, these pantheon of gods that existed in a realm outside of the material plane that Vera exists in. And they were really, you know, beings of what's called the essence. The essence is essentially this almost metaphysical energy or life force that can be manipulated to create magic, or what we would view as magic. And different planes have different degrees of strength when it comes to their proximity to the essence. The material plane is not the highest on that you know, scale of being close to the essence, and the gods exist kind of on a plane that is the most connected to the essence. But they wanted to represent kind of their qualities, their characteristics, their attributes within creation, with the creation of something. So they started with a race that are now known as the Ancients, and they imbued them with all of their qualities, essentially. Now that turned out to be a mistake because with those types of qualities all in one species, there was a pride that happened, a desire to become more, and that led a little bit of conflict between the Ancients, and actually there was a partition created between some of the gods within the pantheon that embraced the idea of introducing the Ancients as part of their, essentially their plane of existence, and teaching them the ways of the essence in all of its facets, not just what can be used for good, but also what could be used for evil as well. Three of the gods kind of split off and went against the quorum that was established about not interfering with the Ancients after they started down this road of learning more of the essence and how to manipulate it. And these three gods are known as the Others. So the Others really kind of embraced teaching the Ancients knowledge of the essence that they had learned through, you know, their eternal existence. And this caused a celestial battle to occur, and the pantheon of the seven were able to defeat the Others, and they banished the Ancients and the Others from the material plane and from the plane of the gods to the void, which is the furthest from being connected to the essence. Now, the essence is a stream that exists across all planes of existence, but it exists at different levels of strength, essentially, at different levels that can be utilized, and the void is the furthest. It is really, there is a very minute amount of essence that can be found within the void. However, the planes of existence that are in Ashes of Creation, they are connected across bridges created by the essence. So these kind of ley lines, in a sense, that exist within the different planes provide conduits of access. On Vera, which was a planet that was made after the celestial battle, Vera was created to house 4 separate species, divine species. Hey, Cliff.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
Hey, buddy. Welcome.
You're going to be sitting right there.
Right in the center. But if you want to put those in the kitchen,
Yeah.
you're welcome to.
I brought a lot of stuff.
Sorry, Cliff is here, everybody.
Yay!
Yay! So sorry, to get back to the story real quick. Vera was created to house the 4 divine races, and they're called divine races because the remaining 7 gods imbued their characteristics within each of these different races. They didn't put all of them into one and make the same mistake. They had focuses really that these races took, essentially. So these were the dwarves, the Duns and Kel, the Kaivek, the Pyrian, and the Aelin. Yeah, you're right there. The Pyrian and the Aelin. So now, when this creation of Vera occurred, the goddess of fate and the goddess of creation were very close. And the goddess of fate essentially warned the goddess of creation, and only the goddess of creation, that the ancients and the others, that they had not seen the last of them, and that there would be a time essentially when those forces would seek out and try to pervert the new creation as essentially a way to thumb their noses at the other gods in retribution for their defeat. So the goddess of creation created a separate planet that Sanctus, that she knew she could bridge with these divine gateways at a time when it was necessary for the descendants of Vera to escape their destruction. So that's really where the apocalypse came to be, is essentially the ancients and the others, they found their way to Vera at some point, and they came through what we call the harbingers, which are essentially these celestial bodies, these almost comet-like structures that were traveling through space to kind of find the location of the new creation. And within those harbingers is a very strong source of magic that essentially acts as a bridge between the void and the material plane where Vera exists. So where we are today and where we will be playing is before the harbingers arrive. So to give you guys knowledge, yeah, you need to be careful there. To give you guys knowledge of this period of time before the harbingers arrive, essentially the Verans are living in a very advanced society.
A Vera
advanced society.
Sorry.
And when I say Vera, I mean, they were able to achieve kind of at the height, still fantasy-based, they're not like super technological, but they were, they had proliferated across the planet. They had really established their civilizations. And they were beautiful civilizations. They had gone through periods of time that were, heavy warring and tribalism, and essentially they had settled down into these vast countries, these vast empires, and there was general peace. I mean, there were periods of war, and there were, bad magic would come up every now and then with some, evil dude kind of exploring the reaches of the essence. But essentially, it was a good time. When the harbingers appeared, darker things started to manifest, and really, there have always been cults. There have always been societies that kind of focused on essentially the darker arts of the essence. There have always been orders and societies that have sought to stop them from pursuing contact either with the others or with really knowledge of manipulating the essence in a way that's not good. So the players today are going to be part of what is called the Light Pact. And the Light Pact in Vera was really a collection of orders that existed in a way to promote kind of the good use of essence, the promoting of civilization and society moving forward as a collective. And they were often dispatched by governments, whether it be the Aelan government, the Pyrian governments, or the Kaivek Protectorate, to seek out evildoers and to stop them. But more importantly, there were specific artifacts that really became important as a focal point for this kind of evil manipulation of the essence. And these artifacts were rare, but they were usually created as some focal point of where the others reached in out of the void into the material plane, specifically on Vera, to kind of pervert again what society and civilization was attempting to accomplish as followers of the good gods. Sorry, that was a very long explanation.